Ho, stranger. Ho, 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 stranger. Ho, 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 stranger. Got a good selection on sale this holiday, stranger.
What's up, everybody? This is Kevin here from Happy Beard Games, bringing you another video, and I just want to say that this is the 24th of December, and you know what that is? My very first video on Happy Beard Games was published, or uploaded to YouTube, at least, on the 24th of last year's December. So this is my 1-year video anniversary. In addition, it is also the Happy Beard Games Holiday Special. Yes, yes, yes. Now, I started out my channel with a top 5, top 5. It was like top 5 Christmas or holiday gifts. It's been a long time. But a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have grown. My game collection's grown. My room's changed. And a lot of things have changed in me as well. And I've met a lot of really cool people over the year. So, I won't say years, but a year. I guess it's just been a year. It's pretty cool, though. So yeah, I just want to share a couple things for the holidays. That's basically during the holiday season. People like to celebrate with fond memories. So I'm sharing my fondest memories of my top 5 video games of all time. Yes, this is my top 5 games that I've currently played out of many games. And these are only games that I own. I mean, I don't really own any, I don't not own a game that is my favorite game. You know what I mean? Like, there's not like my favorite game, I don't have it yet. But this is throughout history. A lot of these are going to be classic games that I grew up with, so I got a lot of fond memories of those. Not all of them are that old, but some of them are. I'm not that old myself, or am I? I don't know. I'm getting older. My birthday's next month. Scaring me, guys. Scaring me. But anyways, yeah, so this is my fond memories, top 5 games of all time. Now, you may have heard me reference these throughout my channel throughout the year. I've said a couple things. I've even played some of these games before for you guys, which I'm not going to spoil right now. But keep in mind, if you've heard me talk about my favorite games, they might show up on this list. It probably will, because the list has not changed very much. Actually, it kind of has, because I usually just talk about my top 3 games, and I 1, 2, and 3, and I don't really talk about the 4 and 5, but I'm going to try to find out, I got to figure out what my 4th and 5th favorite game of all time is. That's going to be a challenge, so let's get started with this top 5 of Happy Beard Games, Kevin's top 5 favorite video games of all time. Alrighty guys, it's time for number 5, starting down the countdown of my top 5 favorite video games of all time.
Ho, 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 stranger.
Do you guys hear that? What is that sound?
Ho, 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 stranger.
Sounds familiar. Strangely familiar. Something I haven't heard in a few months.
Ho, stranger.
Oh no.
Ho, ho, ho,
Oh
stranger.
no. Oh no. I knew it was you, and I knew you'd come back one day.
Ho, 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 stranger.
You're that salesman of terror, the shopkeeper of evil, the NES merchant, or the video game merchant, as you say you are now. Or, is there another name you go by now?
Yeah, it's me, the holiday merchant.
You're the holiday games merchant? You look like a really bad Santa Claus.
And I've got a good selection on sale, stranger.
No one's gonna want to buy a video game from you. You look terrifying. You look horrible, man.
Yes. Yes.
So why'd you come into my room during my top 5 video, my video anniversary, my holiday special, and interrupt me? Why did you come in here?
Alright, Kevin from Happy Beard Games. I want to do a collab with you.
Okay, so you say you want to co-commentate my top 5. Alright, I guess that'll work. But you gotta be kind, you gotta be polite, and you gotta have that holiday spirit with you this time. No tricks, remember? Alright, one more rule though. You gotta stay behind the couch. Yeah, stay a few feet away from me. You smell bad, man. Alright, let's get started with number 5 on my list of top... Alright, let's get started with number 5 on my top 5 list of favorite games of all time. Wait, where did he get off to? Oh well, let's just go on without him for now. Okay, so number 5 is Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. You may have seen this briefly
Mario
on one of my
RPG?
recent videos.
Really? An
where it's one of
RPG
the
with
most
Mario
expensive
characters?
games as well.
Ha!
So it's a good
That'll
point
never
for me to
work.
have this game, as it is one of my favorites. So I'm not going to be getting rid of this anytime soon, even though it is worth a decently valuable amount of money. I think it was about $50 or more. Yeah, use price. Pretty good. It's a Super Nintendo game. What is this game? Well, it's basically an RPG set in the Mario universe. This is the first game that really took an RPG approach to the Super Mario universe of characters. And it introduces some new characters as well, including Geno, a magical doll sort of character, who is sort of like a wizard, but he has like shots and stuff. He's pretty cool. And then you have Malo, who's like a cloud character. It's just a little weird sounding, but imagine the Mario world, the Mushroom Kingdom, stuff like that. You have lots of different familiar faces. You have Mario, Peach or Toadstool, and you have Bowser on your team. Yes, this is one of the first and few games that featured Bowser as a hero instead of a villain. He is not the main villain of this game, although at the beginning it does start out that way. There's a bunch of other different enemies in this game that are new and unique to this game. Many new characters, introduces some new characters to the Mario universe as well. In some ways it feels sort of like a side game, like it's not like, Mario Bros. 3. But it is introduced new stuff to the series and some great characters, memorable moments. Has a good storyline, by the way, guys. You might be surprised, a Mario RPG. Like, think about it. Mario doesn't have too much of a storyline, but a Mario RPG actually really works really well. And it has a great storyline, guys. I'm not even kidding. This is one of the most memorable storylines in video game history for me. And this is made by Square, the same people that created Final Fantasy games. And it's really good, as I've said that before, but yeah, it's one of my favorite games, and I'll tell you a few reasons why. Not only is the battle system tight and easy to understand, I mean, you level up as you go on, you get new abilities, you get stronger, you get equipment and gear. They all seem to make sense, the items work well, the equipment and everything like that as well, and it just seems to fit really well. It's a solid RPG, and one of the first RPGs that I ever played outside of Final Fantasy was this game. And yeah, it's really good. I like the characters. I like the combat or the RPG battle system. I like the story, of course. Another thing that's really important is the visual style. It's not 2D sprite looking like 16-bit like Final Fantasy VI looking stuff. It's more of a 3-dimensional, sort of like a Donkey Kong Country. But it's an RPG, of course, so it has that top-down sort of overhead when you're going through the world of the game. And then even in the battle system, the graphics remain pretty much the same. So it's really cool, and it does feature a Final Fantasy style of gameplay, but with Mario characters. And yeah, so everything about this is really good. I can't think of too much negative things about this, which is why I'm placing this as number 5 on my top favorite games of all time. And this is a very worthy spot. I know it's pretty popular. It has a cult following, but in my opinion, it should be a little more mainstream because this is a really, really, really well-made game. And I recommend it to anyone who's a fan of Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, or Dragon Warrior, and, Super Mario Bros. So check it out. I hope this becomes one of your favorite games as well, if you're interested in Mario or RPGs as much as I am. So Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo. You got anything to say about that back there? I didn't think so. Now you're going to be seeing a consistent theme with the system choice of games that I'm choosing for my favorite games of all time. And I didn't just choose these all right today. These are games that have been growing on me over the years. So you're going to see a lot of Super Nintendo games, because that's the first system I ever got, and that's the system that I grew up with. So I have the most, fond memories of playing Super Nintendo. My fourth pick for top favorite games of all time is Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Kong Quest, on the Super Nintendo. Yes, this is a follow-up game. It's a sequel to Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo.
Donkey Kong Country
one of my
2,
most favorite
a
games
sequel?
as well. And Donkey
The
Kong
first
Country
game wasn't even as good as the arcade original.
And the original Donkey Kong
You know, sometimes
series.
Cranky
There's
Kong
since been a
reminds me
few
of
more.
myself.
There's ones on Game Boy. There's remakes of these as well. And there is Donkey Kong Country Returns on Wii, and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on Wii U. And then the Wii one was also ported to 3DS. Very good games as well. Very good series all around. Almost all these games are, all of them in the Donkey Kong Country series I've enjoyed. But this one stands out to me as the highest quality overall, and it's my favorite one of them all. And in regards to what this game and what is this game, what makes it good, is that it has pretty good, just like with Mario RPG, it has good aspects in every area. It has a great soundtrack. Come on, Bramble Blast. That was Sticker Brush Symphony. It's a really good song there. Pretty much every song on the soundtrack is amazing. It's phenomenal. It's by David Wise, composer of the original Donkey Kong Country, and several other Rare games. Yes, this is a Rare game made by Rareware. And it's really cool because if you don't know anything about Donkey Kong Country, it features a very unique art style that holds up well today, surprisingly enough, because it looks different than most Super Nintendo games. It uses a 3D pre-rendered graphics that are rendered, they did them on a computer in 3D, and then they put them onto the game, and it's like a two-dimensional layer, like a Mario World or something like that. It's a platformer, side-scroller, really cool. And there's a few things in this game that if you've played Donkey Kong Country, which is more popular than this one a little bit, and I'd say for a good reason, because it's the first game and it's a little more iconic, and this one's a little more tougher, a little more hardcore, just a little bit. And I'd say this one does improve on it in multiple ways. For example, in Donkey Kong Country 1, it's basically straightforward. You're going from level to level. This one, it adds things that you need to collect in each level, so you'll be going back for a reason to collect things, not just going back to replay a level or to replay it to get extra lives. But there's special coins you have to get. There's one in each stage, and it does indicate where you get it. There's a save file on this. There was a save file number 1, but this one is more important to have a save file. In addition, there is also lots of secrets. There's more bonus games per level. There is lots of great things. There's new animal buddies. There was animal buddies in the original, but they add to that, adding a spider, a variation on the parrot. There is Rambi the Rhino's back, and lots of new characters to hang out with. There's also a new sidekick. You're not playing as Donkey Kong in this one. You're actually going to rescue Donkey Kong. So you're playing as Diddy Kong from the title, and you're playing as Dixie Kong. I think she's Diddy's girlfriend, but I don't really know. I haven't really confirmed that, but that's what I remember. So you're playing as Diddy and Dixie, and actually, in my opinion, Dixie stands out as the better character in this one because, okay, Diddy Kong from the first Donkey Kong Country. He's a lighter version of Donkey Kong. He's completely different, though. So he's lighter than DK. He can do a cartwheel, and that's pretty much all he can do. He can't hit the big bad guys very hard, but there isn't too many of them in this because DK is missing, of course. But you do have Dixie. Now, she has a special ability. She's fast as well. Maybe not quite as fast as Diddy, but Dixie does have a jump ability, where if you jump and then hold jump again, you can do a ponytail swirl and kind of float across the screen. It helps you out a lot, and it changes up the gameplay a lot, too. This game is one of my favorite games of all time, and I regard it as one of the best games on the Super Nintendo library. And, yeah, it's number 4. Pretty cool. I loved it so much, I bought the book. Yeah. Pretty cool. Okay, guys, let's move on to the next one. Alright, we're moving on to the top nitty-gritty. We're moving on to number 3. My third favorite video game of all time. And this is very close and very hard to choose because I can't really place this above number 2, but I can't place number 2 above this. So it's kind of like a tie. But I'm for purposes of making a list, I'm just going to say this is number 3. Just because. And that is The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo. Yes, a Zelda game. Yes,
The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Now that's what you should be playing. I mean,
it's a Zelda game.
no, come play CDI Zelda. Yeah, Faces of Evil.
I think it's the third
To the
Zelda.
past.
Yeah, third Zelda. Okay. Now, this
My
game
boy!
features many of the
Yeah,
staples of
boy.
the original Zelda, not so much Zelda 2. I'm talking about Zelda 1 on NES. It features the top-down perspective, not the side-scrolling from Zelda 2, and it pretty much creates a lot of the staples that are in the series today. It paves the way for games like the Minish Cap, which comes out much later on Game Boy Advance. This game is important to me for a few good reasons. Not only does the art style fit Zelda perfectly, so much in fact that they came back to it, sort of, and they came back to the world of this game in A Link Between Worlds for 3DS recently. And it's just, I don't know, to me it's like the most fun Zelda 2D style, like over the top, over the head, sort of dungeon crawling Zelda experience. This is my favorite one. This is the one I can go to any day of the week, put it in, have fun with it, and then, have good memories from that experience. Never lets me down. The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, features Link, your hero, out to save Zelda on a major quest through multiple dimensions. This is the key thing. This is one of the big things in this game, guys. You're not just going through one world, you're going through 2 worlds, but it's not just like one to the next. They're laid on top of each other. About a good hour or so or more through the game, once you beat the first 3 temples and you try to rescue Zelda the first time, then you defeat this wizard named Aghanim. This is spoilers here, guys, but after that, you get this entrance to the Dark World. Now, the Dark World is basically another version of Hyrule. You're in Hyrule normally, and what you can do is switch between the 2 worlds in real time, pretty much, because wherever you're at in Hyrule pertains to a certain location in the Dark World. It may not be the exact same, and they use it between puzzles. So you're solving puzzles by going back and forth. And this is not just in dungeons. This is the outside world of Hyrule. This is a big thing, guys. This is different than teleporting from one location to another using the Ocarina. This is different than... It's sort of like a precursor to Ocarina of Time's time traveling. It's sort of like that, in a smaller sense, and a slightly different sense. And in some ways, it almost works better because you can build puzzles around it because of the 2D graphics and the way it's all laid out on like a map. It's a little bit easier to create puzzles like this, I think, on this sort of a gameplay rather than the 3D gameplay of the future Zelda games. But it does kind of pave the way and sets the table down for what would happen in Ocarina of Time. So yeah, Link to the Past, really good game, great soundtrack. I didn't even mention that, but the soundtrack is good. You've got Zelda's theme. I don't know if it's the first time they played Zelda's theme. Zelda's Lullaby. You've got really good iterations. The sound quality is excellent. Sound effects are actually really good too. They're very iconic too. Everything about this game is good. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's number 3, and yeah, I think it's one of the best games ever made, in my opinion. And it's definitely my favorite in the Zelda series so far. And I have a lot of Zelda games. Okay, guys. So number 3. Third best game. Third favorite game of all time. Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Alright, guys. We've seen a lot of Super Nintendo games. But as we narrow it down to number 2, we're skipping ahead in a generation into more RPG territory. Another Square game. It's Final Fantasy IX on the PlayStation. Yes, Final Fantasy IX, my second favorite game of all time. And once again, I'd like to point out, it's a very hard choice between this and Link to the Past. So, Final Fantasy IX, what is it? It's another Final Fantasy. It's the ninth main series Final Fantasy game, and in some ways, it kind of feels like
Final Fantasy IX? That's like the ninth time they tried to make a good game. That's not even worth playing. By that time, a cat would have died.
And I mean, they really went out of their way to make a lot of references to every game that came before it in the Final Fantasy series. Right up to the very end of the game. Right up to the very end of the game. If you know what I'm talking about, you've beaten the game, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, Final Fantasy IX, it's so good. It has the most memorable characters to me in a Final Fantasy game. Really good, guys. I think this game has one of the best intros to a Final Fantasy. It's right up there with Final Fantasy VII in terms of a really good introduction. Very memorable introduction. The use of cutscenes is done really well in this one. As with all the PlayStation 1 Final Fantasies, I think the cutscenes are really good. There's no voice acting. That doesn't come until 10, which is the next entry. But if you don't know anything about Final Fantasy, it's a turn-based role-playing game. It's very, it's sort of more simplified in this one. At least more simplified than 8 was. So they kind of take a step back. And it makes it feel a little more old school. And I really like that because it makes it a little more simplistic. Well, there's a lot more to do in this one, it seems, than the other ones like Final Fantasy IV. So it's really, really, really good. I don't know how to explain it too well, because it's a long game. I mean, it's 4 discs long. Yeah, it's 4 discs long. And it's a great game. It's a great experience. And not only was it a fun game, great soundtrack, great characters, pretty good graphics for its time, actually. And the cutscenes still look good today. Aside from that, and the tight battle system, the way that you get abilities through your gear, like you leave a gear on, you battle with it, and then you eventually learn an ability, and that's how you learn your abilities. Those kind of things I really enjoy in this game. And not just things in the game, but this game affected me personally. So basically when I was in high school and middle school, this game was really important to me. And some of the characters I related to directly to myself, so it was really important, and that kind of an aspect where the game goes beyond just being a game and sort of invades your personal, the way you think and the way you act and the way you live. It is sort of like you can relate yourself to this game. That's a really important thing, and that's why it makes it one of my favorite games of all time. Now, I didn't want to choose a whole bunch of Final Fantasies. At one point, I was really into Final Fantasy as a whole series. But Final Fantasy IX is the only one that I really come back to and can have fun with any day. So that's why I'm picking this as my number 2 favorite video game of all time. If you want to know, a couple of my other favorite Final Fantasies are Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy VI. a lot of them. It's hard to choose, but just those are some of my favorite ones. On the PlayStation, Super Nintendo, those are probably my favorite ones. Yeah, let's move on to number 1, guys. Alright, guys, now if you've been following my channel, Happy Beard Games, you probably know what's coming up. I know some of my close friends probably know what's coming up, or at least I'd hope they'd remember that. But my favorite game of all time, as I've said many times before, is one of those games that, you know, I can come back to any day. And I mean any day. Like, I said that with these other games, but I mean, I can have fun with this any day. I'm going to have a hard time editing this video because I'm going to be playing it the whole time. But this is one of my favorite games. And I just want to say that this game has really, really, really impacted me in terms of how I like other video games. And how I play games as a gamer. I don't really know how to explain it. It hasn't impacted my life so much as it's impacted my gaming life. You know what I mean? Like, I like platformers because of this game. I like Castlevania and Metroid games because of this game. I like, you know, that side-scrolling feel. I like the whole style of it. And I'll just show you what it is right now. It's Super Castlevania 4 on the Super Nintendo. Yes, this is my favorite final favorite game. Number 1, Castlevania 4 or Super Castlevania 4.
Super Castlevania 4? What's so super about it? Because on the Super Nintendo,
wow, most fun on any day, like I said. And it's just everything about it, it's like, do you ever have that feeling where, like, I don't know if it's just nostalgia, because it's not really nostalgic, because I discover new things in this all the time, new ways to play and how to get better and stuff like that. And I actually beat it last time I beat this was this Halloween, so not that long ago, but I have beat it multiple times. So one of the things that's really important about this is do you ever get that feeling where it's like, when you play it, you get like emotional playing it because it's like, it's that good? It's like when I saw like the Star Wars Force Awakens, it was really emotional because I was really into Star Wars, and I still am, but that's what it's like when I replay this game. I get this weird feeling where it's like, it's amazing, but then when it's over, I'm sad, and it's weird. I don't get that for very many games, but Super Castlevania 4, I definitely do. And yeah, so Super Castlevania 4. What can I say about what the game's like? Well, it's basically a 2D platformer, sort of a gothic, sort of vampire hunting, demon hunting, monster hunting thing. It's the theme. You're basically Simon Belmont, who's a vampire killer set to destroy Dracula because Dracula has risen from his grave once again, and he's sent all these monsters all over this place, and you're going through castles and graveyards and tombs and scary places. And it's really fun. I do have a video of me playing it on YouTube, so if you want to look for that, you can find that. It's not the whole game, but it's some of it. And yeah, so Castlevania 4, really good. Really good soundtrack. This is my favorite in the Castlevania series, although, as with Final Fantasy, Castlevania, even more so than Final Fantasy, I enjoy as a whole series. I have most of the games in the Castlevania series, but I don't have all of them. And I haven't played all of them, but I've played most of the 2D platformer ones. Yes, Castlevania 4 on Super Nintendo. This is Kevin from Happy Beard Games. Favorite game of all time, number 1. Super Castlevania 4. Super Nintendo. Check it out. I can't recommend this highly enough. Highly enough. I can't recommend it more for fans of either Castlevania games already that haven't played this yet, fans of platforming games. If you like Donkey Kong Country, you might want to check this out as well. If you like Mario Bros, check this out as well. It's a little more challenging at some parts. It does offer some unique things to the Castlevania series, and it also offers some unique things for this game alone that are only in this game, such as the whip mechanic, which gives you a really good control over your weapon that's you don't get in most games. And it's just really, really fun game. If you like Metroid, check this out. If you like, anything with that sort of horror platforming theme element, classic games, check it out. Alright guys, that's it for my number 1.
Ugh, Konami. They're going on the naughty list this year. That's for sure.
Alright guys, this was Kevin from Happy Beard Games' top 5 favorite video games of all time for the holiday special and the 1-year anniversary of Happy Beard Games. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think about that guy who's hiding back there. Let me know what you think about him as well, because I don't know if he's going to return or not. But either way, I want to thank you for watching. I want to wish you all a very good holiday season and on to the new year. I want to thank you for supporting my channel and supporting me and supporting my videos by doing what you do, watching them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just thanks. Have a happy holidays. No matter where you're at, no matter what you celebrate, no matter what you do, have a good day. That's all I'm going to say tonight. Alright guys, stay tuned to Happy Beard Games for more classic gaming goodness. And until next time, Happy Beard Games will see you then. Happy Beard Games. Out!